Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi zidni ilma, Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Today we are solving October-November 2023 7707 paper 12 accounting. Alright, so the first question that we have over here, it says which actions are examples of bookkeeping. Alright, so entering details of a check received from a customer in the cash book, entering details of goods purchased on credit in the purchases journal, producing an income statement to calculate the profit for the year, or recording details of credit sales in the account of credit customers. So look, what is bookkeeping? Basically, bookkeeping is entering details of goods purchased on credit in the purchases journal. So our answer is going to be B. Entering details of check received from a customer in the cash book, entering details of good purchased on credit in the purchases journal, and recording details of credit sales in the account of credit customer. Alright, so I hope you guys understand this one. Moving on to question number 2, it says a trader supplied the following information at her year end. We have non-current assets, we have inventory, we have trade receivables, cash at bank, and trade payables. So the question says, what was the trader's capital? So look, capital is equals to non-current assets plus inventory plus trade receivables plus cash at bank, and then you subtract trade payables. Okay, what do you subtract? Trade payables. So basically what you're going to do, you will do 4000 plus 350 plus 180 plus 650, and you will subtract 280. So your answer is going to be 4900. So the answer is A. Alright, perfect. Now let's move on to question number 3. It says a trader, Kareem, purchases a new vehicle by check. He will use the vehicle to deliver goods to his customers. How should Kareem record this transaction in his books? So look, motor vehicle is a non-current asset, so it will be debited. Alright, so motor vehicle is going to be debited. Payment was made by check, and check means bank. Bank decreased. Bank is an asset, and whenever asset decreases, it is credited. Alright, so the answer is C. Moving on to question number 4. Okay, it says the following ledger account was in Mina's sales ledger. Which statement about balance on 1st February in Mina's book of account is correct? So this is the balance. This is balance BD. So look guys, whenever balance BD, this is the debit side, this is the credit side. When the balance BD is on the credit side of the sales ledger, it means that it is a liability. Alright, it means that we have to pay money now. So the answer is going to be C. Okay, question number 5, it says which document would a supplier issue to a credit customer if the credit customer had returned goods or had been overcharged? So look, when goods are returned by the customers, trade receivables are reduced. Our trade receivables are reduced. Trade receivable is an asset. So when an asset decreases, it is credited. Okay, so thus a credit note will be issued. So the answer is going to be B. Moving on to question number 6, it says Andy was a regular customer of Khalid. He bought goods with a list price of $1,000 and later paid $760 in full settlement after receiving a discount for prompt payment of 5%. How much trade discount did Andy receive? So first of all, let's find out the amount due before the cash discount. So before the cash discount, we will do 760, alright, divide by 95, multiply by 100. So basically 800. So the price before the cash discount was 800. The total cost was 1000. So 1000 minus 800, that is going to give you an answer of 200. So the answer is C. Okay. Moving on to the next, if you guys are confused where how I got 95, there is another way to teach you. The other way is actually this 760 this 760 represents 95% of the payment. And before the discount, the payment was 100%, which means X. So basically, that's how we did cross multiply. 760 multiplied by 100 divided by 95. That's how we got 800. All right. Now, moving on to question number 7, it says the totals of a trial balance agree. What does this mean? So look, it means all the arithmetic in the ledger is correct. All transactions have been entered in the correct ledger accounts. All transactions have been entered on the correct sides of the ledger. Total debit balances equal total credit balances. So look, whenever the trial balance agree, of course it means that the arithmetic ledger is correct, but there are chances that both debit and credit side may be wrong by the same amount, so the trial balance will still agree. So it basically means that the totals of a trial balance agree when total debit balances equal to the total credit balances. So the answer is D. Okay. Question number 8, it says a check received from Joe was credited, okay, to Joanna's account. Which type of error was this? So look, when the amount is posted to a wrong account, but the correct class of account. So look, this is correct class of account. The account name is wrong, but the type of account is correct. It is called error of commission. So wrong trade receivable account was credited, but it was the correct class, that is customer's account. Wrong trade receivable account, correct type of account. Alright, so the answer is A. Moving on to question number 9. Let's read question 9. Says a trader's journal shows the following entry: John debit 300, Jane credit 300, correction of error. Both John and Jane are credit customers of the trader. Which error is the journal entry correcting? So look, basically error of commission took place. Credit sales to John were debited to Jane's account. Alright. So when the error is corrected, John will be debited to record credit sales in the customer's account. Jane will be credited. So Jane will be credited to rectify the error. So goods sold to John were wrongly debited to Jane. That's why we are crediting Jane right now. Okay. Now let's move on to the next question. Question number 10. Question 10 says the trial balance does not balance and a suspense account is opened. It is found that a sales of $250 was credited in the sales account as $2,500. So look, sales have been overestimated. Sales have been overestimated by 2250. Sales will be reduced by 2250. We need to reduce sales by 2250 now. Alright, so suspense will actually be credited by 2250 and sales will be debited. So the answer is going to be B. Moving on to question 11, it says a check received from D. Pawson, a trade receivable, was correctly debited to the bank account, but was credited to the account of P. Dawson, a trade payable. What was the effect of correcting this error? So look, a check received from D. Pawson, a trade receivable, was correctly debited to bank, but was credited in the account of P. Dawson. Look, this is D, this is P. Dawson. So what will you do now? You will reduce your trade receivables, alright, and you will reduce your trade payables. Why? Because receipts from trade receivables reduces the current asset. Wrong posted to account of P. Dawson, a trade payable will be corrected. Basically, this is a trade payable. So we need to reduce trade payable and we need to reduce our trade receivable as well. Okay. Question number 12, it says the balance of the bank column in the trader's cash book was 520 debit. The trader later discovered that the following items did not appear on his bank statement, which are checks not yet presented 80, checks not yet credited. What was the balance on trader's bank statement? So look, balance as per bank statement is cash book balance. So basically the formula is cash book balance debit plus unpresented checks subtract it with uncredited checks. Uncredited checks. So it's actually 520 plus 80 minus 470. So the answer is going to be how much? 130 credit. Credit means that there are funds available in the bank. Okay. Now question number 13. In question 13 it says, why does a trader prepare sales ledger control account? So look, sales ledger balance is reconciled with the closing balance of sales ledger control account. Alright, so incorrect postings in the sales ledger are corrected. So basically the answer is C, to locate incorrect postings in the sales ledger. Okay. Question 14. When preparing a sales ledger control account, what is the source of information for amounts received from credit customers? So look, amount received from credit customers is recorded in the cash book. So when preparing sales ledger control account, what is the source of information? Cash book. Alright, so amount received from credit customers is recorded in the cash book. Question number 15. It says plant and machinery 2000 was incorrectly posted to the credit side of the purchases account. The draft profit for the year was 63,000. Ignore depreciation. What was the revised profit for the year after the correction of the error? So look, revised profit would actually be 63,000. Alright, and we will subtract 2000 because draft profit less overstated profit. Alright, why? Because plant and machinery was incorrectly posted to the credit side of the purchases amount. So we need to subtract this. Okay, so your revised profit would be 61,000. Okay, question number 16, it says, why are non-current assets depreciated? So basically, to avoid overstating value of the non-current assets, to charge the cost of an asset as an expense over its lifetime, to comply with the accounting principle of historic cost, to match capital expenditure against the income it has earned. So the answer is actually A. It is to avoid overstating the value of non-current assets, to charge the cost of an asset as an expense over its lifetime, and to match capital expenditure against the income it has helped earn. Now, question number 17, it says, on 1st January, Rahim purchased equipment costing 850. It was estimated to have a working life of 5 years and a scrap value of 50. Okay, the asset was depreciated using straight line method. Okay, at the end of 3 years, the machine was sold for 100. So look, we will first calculate depreciation for 3 years. It's going to be 850 minus scrap value, cost minus scrap value divided by number of years, and because we are calculating for 3 years, we will multiply it with 3. So this actually becomes 800 upon 5 multiplied by 3, which means 160 multiplied by 3, 480. Alright, so book value is actually cost minus depreciation to date. Cost minus depreciation to date. Okay, so it's actually going to be 850. Alright, minus what's the depreciation to date? Minus 480 is equals to 370. So this means 370, the value of the assets today after 3 years, at the end of 3 years, is 370. So now the machine is sold for 100. So if you look at it, the value of the machine is 370, but we sold it for 100. So we actually made a loss. We made a loss of 270. So that's how you have to do this question. Moving on to the next question, question number 18, it says, Imran maintains a provision for doubtful debts of 5%. Okay, the trade receivables at the end of each financial year. The balance on his provision for doubtful debts on 1st January was 700. Okay, previous balance. Trade receivables on 31st this year's owed 2,000 more than they owed on 31st December 2021. Okay. How did the change in provision for doubtful debts affect the profit for the year? So look, first let's calculate provision for the year end. Provision for the year end. It's 700 plus 100. Alright, 700 plus 100 multiply by. So how I got this 100 actually, I got this 100 like this, 2000 multiplied by 5%. I actually took 5% of this 2000, okay? So this becomes 800. So provision increased by 100. Previous year the provision was $700. This year the provision is $800. So as a result profit will decrease by 100. Do you get it? If you guys still don't get it, I'll explain to you again. It says trade receivables on 31st December owed 2000 more than they owed on 31st December 2021. Alright. So how much is the total provision for doubtful debt? I calculated 5% of 2000, that's 100. So previous provision for doubtful debt plus current 100, so it's total 800. So previous year there was 700, this year 800. Total provision for doubtful debts increased by 100, so profit will reduce by 100. Answer is A. All right. Question 19, it says Ariadne prepares his financial statement to 31st December each year. She valued all her inventory on 31st December 2021. Even though some inventory cost 500, had a net realizable value of 350. What was the effect of this error? So look, the business has to follow the concept of lower of cost or NRV, lower of cost or NRV, net realizable value. Alright, whichever one is lower, the business has to choose that one. In this case, cost is higher, so inventory cost is 500. So the inventory should have been recorded at 350. Okay. So, it is overstated. However, what they did is that they recorded it at 500. So our inventory is overstated by 150. How did I get 150? 500 minus 150, 350 is 150. Alright. As a result, gross profit is also overstated. So the answer is A. Moving on to the next question, 20, it says, a trader has capital of 24,400, his non-current assets are 16,100 and his current liabilities are 4,500. There are no current liabilities. What was the amount of his current assets? So look, current assets is equals to capital plus current liabilities minus non-current assets. Capital is 24,400, current liabilities are 4,500 and assets are 16,100. So the answer is 12,800. Answer is C. Question 21. At 1st January 2022, there was a credit balance of 800 on the electricity account. Alright, credit balance. Payment made during the year totaled 4,900. At 31st December 2022, a further 1,800 of electricity had been used since the last invoice was paid. What is the charge to the income statement for the electricity of the year? So look, electricity would actually be 4,900 current year electricity plus 1,800. Alright, because we have used this electricity but did not pay it. And this 800, this electricity is of the previous year, not current year. So we will subtract it because we are finding the electricity bill for the current year. So the answer is 5,900. Okay. Moving on to the next question says, Josh and Karen are in a partnership sharing profit and losses 3:2. Okay. Josh, Karen, your average Karen 3:2. Interest on capital is allowed at 5%. Salary payable to Josh is 10,000. The residual profit, this is 10,000. The residual profit after deduction of salary and interest on capital was 20,000. The remaining profit actually. The capital account balances at the start of the year, Josh 60, Karen 40. So look, what was the total amount credited to Josh's current account? So look guys, basically how much money Josh earns we have to find out. So basically Josh earns first of all interest on capital, which is 3,000. Let me write all the working over here. Josh, interest on capital, which is actually 60,000 multiply by 5%. Alright, because interest on capital is 5%, so he earns 3,000 from interest on capital plus salary. Salary is how much? It's 10,000 plus profit share. Profit share. So profit is how much? 20,000, because it's written over here. Where is it written? Profit is 20,000. It's written over here. Multiply by how much does he get? He gets 3 out of how much? 5, which is 12,000. So you will actually do 3,000 plus 10,000 plus 12,000. So it's actually 25,000. Alright, so the answer is D. Next question says a partner's charge interest on drawings he made during the year. How is this recorded in the partner's account? So look, credit the partner's current account, debit the partner's capital account, debit the partner's. So look, if you make the current account, we always write it on the debit side, interest on drawings over here. Alright, so the answer is D. Question 24. Which organization is the most difficult to establish and has to comply with many legal formalities? So look, of course, limited liability company. There's no hard and fast rule over here. Moving on to the next question, it says 25. Z Limited has the following types of equities and liabilities: debentures, general reserves, long-term bank loan, ordinary shares, preference share capital, retained earnings. What is included in the company's shareholder equity? So look, in the company's shareholder equity, we have general reserves, we have ordinary share capital, we have preference share, and we have retained earnings. So the answer is going to be D. Okay. Question 26. A sport club operates shops selling running shoes to members. These shoes are purchased on credit terms for suppliers. Which item is recorded in the receipts and payments account? Alright. Which item is recorded in the receipts and payments account? So look, receipts and payment accounts is a bank account for the sports clubs. It's a bank account. Alright, so payments to supplier will be recorded on the credit side of the account. Since you're recording it on the credit side, it's a payment to suppliers. 27. Which cost is a direct factory cost? So we already know it, manufacturing royalties. Okay. Question 28. A manufacturing business provides the following information. What was the factory cost of production? So look, factory cost of production, we will actually add prime cost. Okay. Then we will add factory overheads. Okay. Then we will add opening work in progress, and we will subtract closing work in progress. Alright. So we will actually do 40,750 plus 20,945 plus 910. Subtracted from 840, we get 61,765. 61,765, guys. Next question, question 29. It says that Elaine is starting a business. She wants to make sure she doesn't miss out on any cash discount which is offered to her. Which action would help her to achieve this? So look, issuing her invoices promptly, maintaining full accounting records of dealings with suppliers, making purchases in bulk, undertaking credit sales. So look, cash discounts offered by suppliers is discount received. Alright, so for Ellen it will be discount received. Discount is received on prompt payment. Alright, discount is received on prompt payment. Elaine should maintain a full accounting records of dealing with suppliers. Alright, so since we have the term suppliers here, this should also give you a hint. Next question. Ahmed provide the following information: trade receivables, and for the year credit sales, cash sales, checks received from trade receivables, irrecoverable debts. By how much had the trade receivables increased by the end of the financial year? So look, we will actually do 15,000. Alright, plus 85,000. We will add credit sales, and we will subtract checks, because we want to see how much trade receivables are increasing. Okay, and we will subtract irrecoverable debts because we won't receive that money. Alright, so our answer 33,000. So trade receivables by the end of the year. Alright, trade receivables by the end of the year, how much do they increase by? The question is, how much do they increase by? So they actually increased by 33,000. How much were they before? 15,000. So they increased by 18,000. Okay. Question 31. A business provided the following information: revenue, gross margin, profit margin. There was no other income. How much were the expenses? So look, gross profit is 20,000 because revenue is 20,000 multiplied by 25%. Margin basically means percentage of sales. So that's 5,000. Net profit is actually 20,000. Net profit margin multiplied by 10%. So net profit is 2,000. So expenses, we will subtract gross profit with net profit. So we will do 5,000 minus 2,000. So we will get 3,000. So the answer is C. Okay. Question 32. A business has the following assets and liabilities: inventory, trade receivables, trade payables, bank overdraft. The owner plans to pay some of his own funds into the business bank account to increase current ratio. How much does he need to pay? Okay. So for a question like this, first of all, you need to know the formula for current ratio. Current ratio is equals to current assets divided by current liabilities. Okay. Current ratio is 2:1. They want 2:1, which means current assets are inventory plus trade receivables divided by current liabilities are bank overdraft plus trade payable. Okay. So bank overdraft needs to be reduced by 1200. Alright. So bank overdraft needs to be reduced by 1200 to decrease current liabilities to 3000. Alright. So then the ratio will be, because 2000 plus 4000, current assets is 6000. Let me write over here 6000 upon current liabilities. So trade payables are how much? 1100 plus 3100. 1100 plus 3100 is actually how much? It's 4200. Alright. So right now I'm not getting the ratio 2:1. I need to subtract this by 1200, so it will become 6000 upon 3000, which will give me a ratio of 2:1. Alright, so I need to reduce bank overdraft by 1200, guys. Question 33. Leanne provided the following information: revenue, cash sales, credit sales, trade receivables, other receivables. What was Leanne's trade receivables turnover? So look, trade receivable turnover is equals to trade receivable upon credit sales multiplied by 365. Trade receivables are 19,530 upon credit sales. Credit sales are 230,000 multiplied by 365. So we get 30.7 or 31. So the answer is C. Alright, question number 34. It says the trader values his inventory on the same basis at the end of each financial year. Which accounting principle is the trader observing? So look, if the trader is valuing his inventory on the same basis, it means this is consistency. So when the trader values his inventory on the same basis at the end of each year, then he is being consistent, so we are using consistency value. Next it says Jack is a shareholder in the company. He received the company's financial statement. Why did he find the financial statement relevant? He was confident it did not contain errors. The financial information was clearly presented. The same depreciation methods had been used as in previous year. They confirmed his expectations about future of the company. So look, Jack is a shareholder right now. So shareholders want their investment in the company to be secure and profitable. So Jack found the financial statement relevant as they confirmed his expectations about the future of the company. So guys, we are finished with this past paper. There are no more questions. If this video helped you, please do make sure to like, subscribe and share my channel. All revenue generated will go to the cause of Palestine, inshallah. And if you guys need any help, feel free to mention them in the comments below. Take care.